Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are looking at a paper called Henry Park Primary School. Okay, this is a WA2 paper. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I'm looking at question number 2 first. Okay, of course, we all know that this concept, or this is called burp for me right now. Okay, please start burping for me. Okay, now burp for me right now. So the question says Cindy had a bottle of honey, nothing much to do. Sentence number 2, she used an equal amount of honey each day. That means every day she uses the same. Am I making sense? Sentence number 3, so sentence number 2, nothing to do. Right? Sentence number 3 says at the end of the 6th day, 2/3 of the honey was left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into 3 units. I will shade 1 unit, and I'll say that everything over here is 6 days. Do you agree? That means to say whatever that is over here is also 6 days. That means to say whatever that is over here is also 6 days. Okay? Now that means I can actually split this into 6 parts. Okay, I can split it into 6 parts. Can you see that? That means I will do likewise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now, the question is very kind to tell us at the end of the 8th day. That means to say I'm going to stretch it a bit more. 7 and 8. Alright now. Alright, at this point, this is my 8th day. And they continue on to say that how what? 400 ml, 400 ml of honey was left. That means to say everything that is over here is basically what I call 400 ml. Am I making sense? Do you agree or disagree? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 10 unit in this situation is 400 ml. My job is to find 1 unit, which is equals to 40 ml. Okay, what am I supposed to do? The question asks us to find how much honey was in the bottle. What? At first. Well, at first is actually from where to where? At first is basically everything over here. So if it's everything, we know that it's 18 unit, right? Because 6 days is 6 units, so 18 over here in fact I would say one bar is how many parts? 6 parts, right? Or 6 unit, right? Right now. So there are a total of 18 units, right? 3 bars, so 18 units. So in this situation, you just have to do 40 times 18. We get to an answer of 720 ml. And this is my answer for this question. Okay, so now we are going to go to question number 4. Now, question number 4 says, at first, Haiti had a total of 78 yellow and red balloons. That means yellow plus red is equals to 78. Now, whenever you want to do a question, you have to tell me the concept first. I see that there's a percentage, then I definitely know that this is a triple P board cookies and cream situation. Okay, so please remember this is a triple P board cookies and cream situation. Now, of course, once I'm done with this, what am I going to do next? Very simple. I will have to ask myself, which one specifically are they asking me or wanting me to find? Let's continue reading. It says, after 19 red balloons burst. You see, there is a change that is going on. The moment there is a change, immediately we know that this is a B. B stands for BNA. Does that make sense to you? All right, B stands for BNA. So, because of that, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a table. All right, you're going to write your red, or rather, maybe, you know what? I'll just say yellow over here first. Okay, then we have a red over here, and we will have our before, we will have our change and our after. Okay, the moment it's before and after, you immediately draw a DAB. All right, what's a DAB? A DAB means draw a. Sorry, I apologize. Draw DAT. That means to draw a table. Okay. Now we know that the total is 78, so I will just have 78 written out there. Can? How many balloon burst? They say 19, so I have to minus 19. True? Did she do anything to the yellow? It increased by how much? 75%, right? So 75%, we convert that to 3 over 4. That means if I plus 3 over 4 here, that means I will have 4 over 4 here. That means I will have 7 over 4 over here. You get what I'm trying to say? Very good. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to now then read the final part, right? They say Katie then had a total of how much? 83. So that means there's 83 over here. Am I making sense or not making sense? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, right? If I have 78 over here, all right, 83 there, that means to say how much was added here. I don't know individually how many red and how many yellow, but I know the total that was added. Agree or disagree? All right, very good. So this, you know, is plus 5. Agree or disagree? So from here, right, it's very obvious to us already that we can form an equation using this. This is the first equation that I can see. this is the first equation that I can see. Okay, so what is this 3 over 4? We know that this 3 over 4 basically means 3 unit. True? Can I understand or not understand?
Okay, so we know that A is
Okay.
two. But we also know that E is unit.
So once I'm done with this, can I form an equation? How am I supposed to form an equation? What's the equation that I can form? 3 unit? 3 unit? Minus 19 is equals to 5. Agree or disagree?
But isn't it plus?
Why?
Then why you got plus one?
Yeah, 5, 5 is positive, right?
Oh.
5 is positive. 78 plus 5 equals to 83. Right? Correct now. So you're going to bring the 19 over. So 3 units is equals to 5 plus 19. 3 units is equals to 24. Do you agree or disagree? So 1 unit in this situation, 1 unit in this situation is how much? Very good. 1 unit is 8. What did the question want us to find? How many red balloons did Katie have at first? You understand what I'm trying to say? So in this situation, all you need to do to find rate at first, I'll just have to put a question mark here. I will first find my 4 unit. So what's 4 unit? 4 unit is 8 times 4, which is equals to 32. Right? So my job is to find rate. My job is to find rate at first. In this situation, this is basically 78 minus away 32. You get to an answer of 46. And that's your answer for this question. Now, we're going to go on to question number 8. Now, we're going to go on to question number 8. Question says, or in fact, when you see this, right, you definitely know this definitely 1,000 trillion percent under what we call Barney Bessery. Now, if you're wondering why, because this is Barney Bessery is the concept under whole numbers. Okay? Which one exactly is it? We will figure out later. Okay, we'll never be able to know it instantaneously. Okay, we know that 5 table costs as much as 7 chair. Yeah, this can also be known as algebra. It's very easy, yeah. Okay, sentence number 2 says each table costs 54, right? So 1 table costs more than a chair by how much? $54 more.
Oh, is it like that?
Okay, you can do it the whole numbers way. You can also do it the algebra way, whichever, doesn't matter. Okay, all right. So for now, I'm just going to do it this way. From here, I will just have to simply say chair. How many chair do I have? I have times 7 chair. True. That means this gives me 7 unit. For table, it's times 5. That means that gets me to how much? That is basically 5 units. Okay, 54 times 5, we get to plus 270. You get where I'm coming from? And okay, now why is it that I'm doing this? Because I want to form an equation. Isn't it true that my table equals to, in fact, the question did say, right, 5 identical table costs as much as 7 identical chair, right? So you see, my 5 table now becomes 5 units plus 207 is equals to my 7 chair becomes 7 unit. This basically tells me, yeah, sure, this basically tells me that 2 unit is 270. 1 unit in this situation is 270 divided by 2, we get to 135. Then, of course, our job is to find the cost of the what? 5 table and 7 chair. Now, for maybe we can go and find 7 chair for 7 unit. 135 times 7, we get to 945. Over here, I want you to write C. Is that okay? All right, finally, of course, or in fact, very importantly, what you will do is to ask yourself, hey, can I actually go and find my table? My table in this situation is 5 units. So 5 units, but don't forget to plus 270. Okay? Which is 135 times 5 plus 270, which is equal to $675. Okay, so the total cost in this situation is this plus this. All right, the total cost in this situation is this plus this. Right, 945 plus 675, which is 1620. All right, so that's the reason why your answer for this question has to be $1,620. Psych, wrong, Now over here, so from here, what you got to do is you got to do 135 times 5, which is 675 plus 270. Okay, 675 plus 270 is 945. Okay, so 945 plus 945. This basically gets me to an answer of how much? 1,890. Now, I don't know if any one of you recognize or realize that if 5 table equals to 7 chair, that means they both are of the same value. Okay? All right, so 1,890 is my answer. Okay. Once again, when you see that it is fractions, Tell me the concept.
Um.
Okay, the concept is not okay. The concept is verb. Help me fill up the rest of the parts. Verb for me right now. Very good. Okay. Now the question say a hawker had some eggs. Okay. Then what happened? He used 1/3 of them on Saturday. So on Saturday, we know it's 1/3. And 7/12 of the rest on. You see, of the rest, basically the word rest also means remainder. Very good. You are going to be highlighting R. So under remainder, you're absolutely correct, right? ROR. How many types do we have? We have type A, B, C, and D. There are 4 types in total. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you draw a model. Okay, you're going to shade the first part. You're going to shade the first part. You're going to call the first part Saturday. You're going to call the first part Saturday. You're going to call, or the remaining in this situation, you can split it into how many? You can split it into 12. True? Right? So 12, that means each of it has to have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not enough, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to shade how many units in this situation? You're going to shade 7 units. Right? The reason why we are shading 7 units is because over here they say that 7/12 of the rest on Sunday. Now don't forget that when you split it up, you also have to split up the rest. Okay, so all of these have to be properly split. Okay, after that, after what? After Sunday, basically. Right? After Sunday, he bought, so this is sentence number 3, yeah? After Sunday, he bought 104 eggs. He bought 104 eggs, so he decided to buy some more. He decided to buy some more, right? So whatever that is over here is 104. And after he bought this, what happened? He had, sentence number 4, he had as many eggs as he had at first. That means to say whatever that is over here, okay, whatever that is over here, from here all the way to here, this amount is actually equals to how many units? Whatever that he's left, whatever that he's left, is the same as how much he had at first. How many units was that? How many units were there over here? 6, right? How many units were there over here? 6 units also, right? How many units were there over here? 6 units as well. Now, what does this mean to you? It means that this entire thing is equal to 18 units. We already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units over here. So my question to you, my dearest students, what is this? How many units will that be? That question mark. 18 units minus away 5 units is equals to
Oh yeah.
13 units, right? So 13 units in this situation is equals to 104.
But minus one.
Okay, my job is to make sure I find my Mr. Green Man, which is 8. Okay, so 1 unit is 8. Of course, once I have my Mr. Green Man, I'm going to read the question. How many eggs did he have? What did the question say? At first, What is at first? At first is how many units? Just now we have already established that to be how many units? You tell me, you tell me, you tell me. 18 units. Very good. Correct. So over here, you got 8 times 18 equals to 144. And this is my answer for this question. Now, when I see a question like that, I know I need to write down Bunny Vestry. Okay, why is that so? Because this is a topic under whole numbers, and these are the only concepts that they will test you. I apologize, it should be BANN. It's a double I, Vestry. Okay? Bunny Vestry. Now, of course, once I'm done with this, what am I going to do next? The question say, the Eager Express Delivery Company charges $3.50 for parcels delivered on time. So if it's on time, $3.50. If it's late, it's $1.80. Got it? Okay. Now the question say, in May, what happens? The company could earn $382.50 more. There's a typo here. It should be more than, okay? More than all the parcels being delivered on time. Make sense? Now my question to you is, how then will you find the number of parcels? They say that the total difference, this is called a total difference. Agree or disagree? Right? This is not just difference in one parcel. This is the difference in the total. Or rather, we call this the big difference. So over here, you can see obviously, right? I will use difference to solve a concept or a question like that. What's my big difference? My big difference is basically when I see everything that is on time and everything that is late. So in this situation, the big difference is this amount. What is my small difference? My small difference is when I compare the difference between one parcel and one parcel. It's always one-to-one comparison. In this situation, it's 350. You minus away 180, we get to an answer of $1.70. Now, you know, this is such an important concept that every AL wants to learn will know how to do or use difference to help us to solve. What do you do first? Or what do you do next? You can now find the number of parcels. How? You're going to do what we call BD over SD, right? What's BD? $382.50 divided by $1.70. 382.50 divided by 170, we get to an answer of 200. Sorry, no more dollar sign. You know why? Because dollar and dollar cancel out. We get to an answer of 225. In this situation, you're going to say 225 parcels. Am I making sense? Okay, so how many parcels were delivered late in May? 220.
Yeah.
10? Now, for every parcel that was delivered late in May, how many parcels were delivered on time? They say 9. All right, so now what you're going to do, do you understand what it means? Every parcel that was delivered late, so 225 were late, right? So this is 225 were late. True? Right? In fact, they started off with saying what? For every one late, how many are on time? 9 are on time. Can also use algebra, no issue, right? 225 late, how many are on time? 225 times 9, which then is 2025 that is on time. Of course, there should be more that is on time than more that's late. You agree? If it's one late, every time one late, or every time one on time, then 9 late, this company is cooked. You understand? Okay, the question is asking you how much did the company earn in May? Well, very simple, right? To find how much earned in May, because late parcel and on time parcel is a different amount, but very simple. For on time parcel, so I will just say on time. Okay, we will simply just do 9 times. I apologize, what 9? On time is how many? 2025, right? 2025 times $3.50. I'll help you with the calculation, which is equal to $7,087.50. That is if it is on time. This is how much they'll make. But don't forget the ones that are late. Okay, 350, yeah? $3.50. Okay. For the ones that are late, how many are late? You can see over here very obviously 225 times 225 times how much? $1.80, because that is the price that you charge if something is late. Of course, right? Because you want your customers to be happy, right now. Right? Cannot be late, then your customers still have to pay the same amount. So what's the total amount received? Okay, this is very simple. Total amount received in this situation is going to be 7087.50 plus 405. Okay? And that's the reason why your answer for this question has to be $7,419.50. Okay, now for question number 11, it says Jacinta had 2 identical. So important when we say 2 identical bottles. When we have 2 identical bottles, right, it basically means that the total is what I call a constant. You agree or disagree? Because the bottles are the same. True? Right? And the question say, or the question went on to say that it is mixed with oil and water. Okay? The capacity of each bottle is 600 ml, and they gave us the ratio all right, of the first bottle. So I write the first bottle. In this situation, the oil is to water is 5:3. All right, for the second water bottle, oil is to water is 3:1. The oil is not the same, the water is also not the same, but one thing stays the same. Total. One thing stays the same. The total. Does it make sense to you? Right? The total in this situation is 8, but this is 4. Then you're scratching your head. Why is it like that? Right? The reason why is it that there's a difference in the total? Because the teacher who created this question went to simplify. Simplify which one? Simplify the ratio for the second water bottle. You understand what I'm trying to say? So your job as a student is to really just bring it back to the original, or we call this equivalent. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All right. So now that the total is the same, you already know that this is a constant total concept. Okay. You might also want to write for ratio. It's basically what? Triple C board. Okay. Today we are talking about only one of the C. Seems like the first question is only one of the C, which is what we call constant total. Okay. Then once you have these two things,
The curve is exponential, right?
okay, you realize that the total is the same, right? What did she do? She emptied both bottles into an empty pail. Okay, so first thing first, you already know that 8 units is actually equals to 600 ml. True? Make sense? Okay, your job is to find 1 unit. All right, 1 unit in this situation is going to be 600 divided by 8, which is 75 ml. All right, what is the question asking us to find? The question wants us to find the ratio of the amount of oil to the amount of water in the pail. So I'm going to combine these two water bottles and putting it into a pail. So this is my pail. All right, I will have my water bottle here, my water bottle over here. True? All right. I'm adding them into the pail. Make sense? Got it? Amount of oil. So let's find oil. Oil in this situation, I'll probably use green color to show oil. Oil is basically what? 6 unit and 5 units. So that gets me to 11 unit. Do you understand? Don't understand? Okay, which is 825 ml. This is for oil, so I'll just write oil over here. Okay, for water itself, I'll just highlight in blue or circle the number in blue or the ratio in blue. In this situation is 5 units, right? So 5 units is 75 times 5, we get to 375 ml. Okay, then here this becomes water. Does it make sense to you? All right, so the question wants us to express it in ratio, right? So oil is to water. So we got 825 is to 375. Okay, 825 is to 375. We'll get to then 11 is to 5. Okay, so from here itself, it's pretty obvious to you. All right, the ratio for oil is to water has to be 11 is to 5. Okay, now, so then after that, what did Jacinta do? She decided to pour. So you see, in my pail right now, how much of oil do I have? For oil itself, I have 825 ml. Right. For water, I have 375 ml. You got it? Right? The question, or in fact, you can just use as ratio. If you want to express it as ratio, perfectly fine, right? The question already say that oil is 11 unit, right? Oil is 11 unit, and water in this situation is 5 units. Okay? What did the question say? The question say that decided to pour more what? Water. Agree or disagree? So oil is to water, is 11 is to 5, right? So this is called my before. You understand what I'm trying to say? What happened? Pour more water, so I added more water. Did I do anything to my oil? No, I didn't, right? So if I didn't do anything to my oil, I only touch or I only move one part, right? This is what we call constant part, right? Which is constant in this situation? Water is constant. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All right, okay. Water is constant, okay? So over here, we know that the question then went on to say that the amount of of oil and water in the pail was 2:1. So oil to water is 1. Forward. Okay, so from here itself, you obviously see, right? Something has to be made the same. Oil. Why? Yeah, because oil is supposed to be common. So you times 11, you times 11, you times 2, you times 2, right? So then I want us to rewrite this entire part. Okay, I'll just rewrite this entire part. Okay, my before in this situation for oil is to water is 22 is to 10. Something happened to water. but I don't know what exactly, but very soon I'll know. Anything happened to oil? Nothing happened to oil at all. Oil is still 22 unit. Water becomes 11 unit. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All right, so do you recall just now, 10 unit is actually for what? 10 unit was for water. Agree, disagree? Right, now becomes how many unit? 11 unit. Do you understand or don't understand? All right, the question wants us to find, what does the question want us to find? The question say, I want you to find how much water, so this is the question mark, right? Did Jacinta pour into the pail? Yeah? Tell me. It's just 1 unit, right? True? Isn't it true that it's just 1 unit? All right, so this is just 1 unit. True? Okay, first thing first, I obviously have to ask myself, right? Water at first is how much? How much was this at first? 375 ml. Do you agree or disagree? Water was 375 ml. So yeah, very good. So you know that 10 units in this situation is 375 ml, right? 1 unit in this situation is 37.5 ml, right? My job is just really just go and find the change, which is the 1 unit. And that's the reason why my answer for this question has to be 37.5 ml. Now, sure. Now, over here, when I see if it's a percentage, I'll put PPP BCC first. You get what I'm trying to say? All right. Now, some students will also say, "Sure, can I just see it as a fraction?" So I write, but for me right now, perfectly fine. Okay, perfectly fine. Now, you're telling me that this is a remainder concept because of the word remaining, right? So let's not jump to conclusion first. Let's focus on the first one. Very good. Now, if you know, that's perfect. Okay. Now, what did they do? What did the question say? The question say 25% of Lena's money was spent. So 25% we know is 1/4, right? So if we were to convert that to a fraction, right, it's way easier so that we are able to draw a model. We split it down into how many parts? 4 parts. We shape 1 unit. We're going to say that this is for 5 files plus 10 eraser. Okay. The question did tell us that the cost of each file was 4 times the cost of each eraser. So 1 file is equals to how many eraser? Cost of each file, 1 file you can get 4 erasers. That means the file is more expensive. Okay, so this is definitely remainder of remainder. You are absolutely correct. Is this type A, B, C, or D? This is definitely type D. Sure, how do you know it's type D? Because of that green color sentence. Because there's a conversion that you need to do. Okay, so we know that 1 file is 4 eraser. Can I easily go and find or convert 5 files to erasers? We know that this basically means 20 erasers. Why? Because you times 5 here, you also times 5 here. So we know that whatever that is over here is basically 20 eraser plus 10 eraser. That gets me to 30 eraser. Is that okay? So we don't want to have files and eraser. It's too confusing. Just focus on one of the item. In this situation, I've chosen it to be eraser. If you choose it to be file, sure, you want to convert everything to file, perfectly fine. You understand what I'm trying to say? All right, of course, then the question went on to say that Lena decided to buy more files with 40% of her remaining money. Now, 40% means 40 over 100, basically means 4 over 10, basically means 2 over 5. So I will now then drop it down. I will break it up into how many parts? 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will shape 2 parts. I will say that this over here is basically more files. Am I making sense? More files. Okay. No, but I don't know how many files are there. Right? Can I go to the auntie and say, Auntie, I want more files? What do you mean? You get what I'm trying to say? You have to give a number. So what I can do is I can convert, or in fact, what I can do is I can ask myself, how many files will I have over here? Okay, so in this situation, this is a units and a part situation. All right, but you don't know, right? What is the value of the units? Or in fact, I would say what is the value of the parts? You don't know what is true. Do you know how many files are there over here? In one part, you have no idea, right? So the only way you can do it, right, is to use what we call lookup. Lookup. What is this? Do you know how many? Very good. How many erasers are there? In this situation, we know that this entire chunk, this entire unit, right, 3 units is equals to 30 erasers times 3, which is equals to 90 erasers. Which means to say, if this is 90 erasers, I will then easily know that this is actually how many erasers? Also 90 erasers. Isn't that true? We call this the mirror image. So we can confidently say 5 parts is equals to how many erasers? 90 erasers. We will find one part first. 90 divided by 5. We get to 18 erasers. Then I will then move on to find 2 parts, which is equals to 36 erasers. So this is no longer just more files, it's 36 erasers. But the question is not asking us for erasers though. The question is asking us for files. Can I convert? Can I convert my erasers to files? I can easily convert my erasers to files, right? Because I know that one file equals to 4 eraser. So how many files is equals to 36 eraser? I can convert this 36 eraser to how many files? In this situation, it's 36 eraser divided by 4 eraser. We will get to an answer of 9, right? So 36 eraser, or we can say 9 files. It's the same thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? Alright, now the question is not asking us how many more files did the person buy. The question say, I want you to find out how many files did she buy. The keyword over here says what? All together. Alright, so total files. Okay, in this situation, the total files, alright, you first look at the parts model. Total files in this situation, we got 9 files from the parts model. How many files from the units model? We can see that there's 5 over here, so 5 files. That's the reason why your answer for this question has to be 14 files, and that's how you would do a question like this. Okay. So as you can see over here, it says the figure below is made out of a square. Where's the square? If I may just show it to you, this is the square, okay? All right, a quarter circle. Where's the quarter circle? The quarter circle, as you can see over here, is this one. This is the quarter circle. And a semicircle. Where's the semicircle? This is the semicircle. All right. Now the question went on to say the area of the square is 196 centimeters square. So you see, area of a square, when we say area of a square, we always say L times L. Am I making sense? Right, so that means this part times this part is equals to 196. So in order for you to find one of it, you just really have to find the length of it. It will just have to be square root 196. When you square root 196, you know that the length is going to be 14 cm. So this is 14 cm, 14 cm. Okay, now the question says, right, I want you to find the total area of the shaded part. But the shaded parts, they are what? Separated. You understand what I'm trying to say? And they look weird. They are not even a shape to begin with. They are not even shapes that we know. Like there's no formula to this shape. Unlike square, rectangle, triangle. You agree or disagree? So when it comes to what's this called? Circles, right? The concept is BRASS. Okay, today I'm gonna tell you very upfront. In order for you to solve this, you have to use something we call shifting. It has to be a shifting concept. So what I'm planning to do is to shift this over to this side. Can you see it? All right. If you shift it over, what happens is that it's very easy. Yeah, very easy for you to find. You get where I'm coming from? All right. So in this situation, what are you gonna find first? Since I've already shifted, what can I find? Very good. After I found the triangle, then. So one by one, okay. You want to find the triangle as in this one, right? Okay, sure. So we'll find area of triangle first. Okay. How do I find area of triangle? Half times base times height, right? Half times my base is how much? What's my base? 14. Very good. What's my height? What's my height?
What's the height?
Yeah, what's your height? Your height is here, right? But what is it?
7.
How do you know it's 7?
Wait,
Can you assume?
wait, no.
You cannot assume, right? Then how?
Okay, understand this? Understand? Okay, so whenever we
What was your initial plan?
Okay.
Hmm.
Find quadrant.
Uh-huh.
Then minus this,
You find quadrant, then you minus which one? You find quadrant, then you divide by 2, right? To get to this part, right? True?
no,
Yeah, you have to divide by 2, then you minus away this one, right? That was your plan, right? But now you're stuck because you can't find the... Alright, you can't find the area of the triangle. But what about if it's this and this? Can these two be... Can these two be your... Think about this. Can these two be your height and your base? You might always think that it has to be this, right? You see, a lot of students will think that it has to be like that. True? The green color part. But it doesn't have to be this one. True? It can also be this yellow color part that I've drawn. Am I making sense? True? It's easier for you to use it this way. Why is that so? Because you see, you must understand that these two parts, sorry, tell me. It's not a? Yeah, how do you know it's not a right angle?
We need a ruler.
Okay, so you can't tell, right? Are you able to say that these two will be my height, my base? You can't. Agree or disagree? So never mind. When that happens, okay, move on and go and find whatever else you can find first. Is that all right? So I need to change my plan now. Now I need to go and find the area. Maybe I can find my area of the quadrant first. Okay, you get some method marks. Then along the way you might be able to get a light bulb moment. You understand? So area of quadrant in this situation is 104 times 22 over 7 times.
Right? They could get the first one, right? All of this, 3, 2, 5, 4, 5. But
What's my radius?
your present perfect, right?
Okay, very good. Times 14 to the power of 2. Very good, right? So we go 104 times 22 over 7 times 14 to the power of 2. We get to an answer of 154. Make sense? Right? What else can I find? Divided by 2, okay, to find one part of it, right? Correct now, which is this one, right? So you say that this is what? Half of a quadrant. Agree, disagree? Right? 154 divided by 2, we get to an answer of 77. True or not? Now, do you see that there's a rectangle over here? Sorry, a triangle over here? Can you use the triangle to minus away anything? Can you use the triangle to minus?
Oh, you can find the square minus quadrant.
Square minus quadrant, okay. You get to this and this, is it?
Yeah, I need
Okay.
to
Triangle minus away this. Okay, but after triangle minus away this, the
wait.
question mark, right?
But technically it doesn't really do it.
Yeah, it doesn't really help you, right? Okay, so after you have shifted, right, you understand or don't understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the question is whether if I can get to the area of the triangle. Agree or disagree? All right, how do I find the area of the triangle? Any other ways I can find the area of the triangle?
Oh wait. No.
What if you were to do it this way?
What is laughing?
Yeah, what do you see over here?
I was legit just thinking about it.
Which is?
The same triangle.
Yeah, exactly. You get what I'm trying to say now. I want you to think. Is that okay? Alright, so you can actually find the area of this triangle. Okay, which triangle am I referring to? I'm just going to erase away the green color one first. To show you the triangle that I'm really looking at is this big triangle. You agree or disagree? Then I will then divide by 2 so that I can find one of it. Agree or disagree? Because this and this are they the same? They are the same. True or not? Okay, so that's another way to do it. Okay, there are multiple way to do it. Okay, so area of the big triangle in this situation, I will then have to do half times 14 times 14. Okay, so when I do half times 14 times 14, I'll get to an answer of 98 centimeters square. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to find area of, let's call this triangle A, can? All right, area of triangle A. In this situation, we will do 98 divided by 2, we get to 49 centimeters square. Can you understand? All right, so triangle A is 49 centimeters square already. Okay, so it's a long process, huh? Triangle A is 49 centimeters square. Do you understand or don't understand? Okay, if triangle A is 49 centimeters square, what else can what should I do? I should be using the entire big triangle minus away A minus away B. Am I making sense? So that I'm able to get to my shaded part. Can I now find area of B? So if I want to find area of B, I will now continue from here. I will say the area of B is going to be a square. I minus away quadrant, then I divide by 2. Am I making sense? All right, square minus away quadrant. Then after that, I will divide by 2. Make sense? Okay, if you want, you can also say area of 2B. Understand what I'm trying to say? All right, so area of square in this situation is 14 times 14. All right, minus away the quadrant. All right, minus away the quadrant. The quadrant, was it already something that I have just now? Remember, it's 154. All right, so minus away 154. Okay, then what you're going to do? You're going to divide by 2. Am I making sense? Okay, I'm going to erase this. Okay, so 14 times 14. 14 times 14. Then we minus away the quadrant 154. Then the entire thing we divide by 2. Is that okay? 14 times 14, we get 196. So 196 minus away 154. Then we divide by 2. Does it make sense to you? All right. Then we get to 21 centimeters square. Okay, which is 21 centimeters square? Is basically B. Got it? So I got A, I got B. Now I just have to use the triangle minus away A and B. Agree or disagree? To get to my area of the what? The question say the area of the shaded part. The area of shaded part in this situation is going to be the triangle. Which is the triangle? We know is 98. I minus away A minus away B. Is that okay? So 98 minus away A. What's my A? A is 49. What's my B? B is 21. So 98 minus 49 minus 21, we get to an answer of 28 centimeters squared. And this is my answer for this question. Now, at the start of a party, there was 70 children. Okay, so there are 70 children in total. Each boy, one boy, one boy was given what? 5 candies. One girl given 3 candies. Now, this is such an important sentence, huh? Or in fact, important equation. The question gave us 260. So total candies is 260. You see, there's no way you can go and find, right? There's no way you can go and find the number of boys. Isn't that true? Are we allowed to say 35 boys, 35 girls? We can't. True? So when it's a whole number question, we know that it's always bunny, there's 3. The concept that they're testing over here is assumption. Agree? Right? Because the only way you can go and find the number of boys is to guess. Make sense? Or go and assume, right? So I'm going to use assumption. I'll write at dot. Okay, what do I mean by at dot? Like it the dots. Okay, I'm gonna assume. What am I gonna assume? Assume all 70 children are boys. Assume all 70 children are boys. I apologize. It should be the other way around, right? Assume the opposite of what the question is asking. The question asks for boys, right? So you assume all are girls. So now, if I know 70 children are girls, so 70 times 3 candies equals to 210 candies. Okay, what's the extra? The extra is going to be the difference between the actual, this is the actual number of candies that were given out, minus away the fake or the assumed number of candies, which is 210. So it's 260 minus away 210, we get to an answer of 15 candies. The difference in this situation is going to be 5 minus 3. The difference is always what we call the single difference. That means when you compare one boy to one girl, over here you get to 2 candies. The opposite, very simple, you just have to do 50 candies divided by 2 candies. When that happens, you get to an answer of 25. You don't just get 25, you get to 25 what? Opposite of what you have assumed. You assume girls, so 25 boys. Am I making sense? Okay, so your answer is 25 points now, but if you need to be even more certain. How do you do that? Remember, you have 70 children, right? Out of these 70 children, how many boys do you have? Now you say you have 25 boys, right? One boy, you get 5 candy, right? So let's check to see whether if we are able to get back to the 260 candy. Okay, so I get 125 candies over here. For my girls, in this situation, I will have 70 minus 25 girls, which is equals to 70 minus 25 boys, 45 girls. 45 girls, each girl get 3, so 45 times 3, we get 235 candies. Now, when these two gets added up together, what happens? These two gets added up together, does it bring you to 260 candies? If it does, that means you have assumed correctly. So I have, right? Yeah, so that's basically how I get to the answer of 25 balls. Okay? Now, of course, then we move on to the next part. It says halfway through the party, 3 boys and some girls join in. You see, so when there's a change that is going on to the number of people, we know that this is a B and A. All right, over here, because there's ratio, I will say C, 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 B, N. And I'm looking at the B over here. All right. So first thing first, if it's a B and A, I can just draw my table. I know that whatever that is over here is boys, whatever that is over here is girls. My question to you is what's my before, what's my change, and what's my after? For boys, how many boys are there? We know there are 25 boys, right? True. How many girls? In fact, I don't even don't even need to write 25 boys, just write 25. How many girls in this situation? We know that we have. How many girls? 70 minus 25, right? Which is equals to 45 girls. Okay, how many people join? They say 3 boys, so we plus 3. Some girls, I don't know, I just plus something. After that, the ratio of number of boys, so we know, we do it naturally, we know this is 28. True? 45 is something I still don't know what is this. True. But they did tell us that the ratio became 1:2. So boys is how many unit? Boys is 1 unit. Girls is how many unit? 2 unit. So it's pretty obvious. 1 unit is 28. All right. 2 unit in this situation is 28 times 2. We get to 56. That means I have 56 girls. Now my question to you is, or the question is asking me to find the number of girls who join the party later, which means to say this question mark. Right? To find this question mark, what do I have to do? Very simple. I will just have to say girls that join. All right. Over here, I will basically say 56 minus away 45. 56 minus away 45. We get to an answer of 11. Over here, what is it? It will be 11 girls who join the party later.